right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Right now, a weather front is moving through the area. It's not bringing much, if any, rain, but it does bring change. Those changes may be good for your electric bill, but not your water bill.
Tonight, fighting the fine print. Why companies can have the upper hand before you even make a claim. But first tonight, a suspected dog attack leaves a man dead. Police breaking the gruesome news to his wife.
We don't want you to remember these wounds, and we don't even want to tell you how many times he was bitten.
How a second victim was found alive.
Tonight, the victim's wife shares new details about the deadly attack in North City. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Bush.
And I'm Ann Allred. The victim's wife sat down today with our Pepper Baker, who shares more of her touching remarks. Pepper.
Yes, a 62-year-old man and a 92-year-old man were attacked by dogs in an alley on San Francisco Avenue. The 62-year-old Dennis Moore died. Police told his wife that he was essentially eaten alive. She was kind enough to talk to us today as she's still trying to wrap her head around this horrible tragedy.
We had a wonderful wedding, and I asked him, I said, I never had a wedding before. He said, I'm gonna give it to you. And he did. He did.
Melvina Moore met her true love, Dennis Moore, later in life. Their blended families came together in the Penrose neighborhood in North City in 2016.
I mean, to take in a woman with 7 kids, just think about it. This was a lot for him because he didn't have number 3 kids.
He, a retired landscaper known in the neighborhood for helping the elderly cut their grass, always checked on his wife when she worked the night shift at a nursing home.
Throughout the night, he always called me. None of them calls went through.
Last Saturday night, she knew something was wrong. The police answered the phone the next morning.
And they asked me, they said, who are you? And I told them. And they said, do you stay at this address? I say, yes. They said, we can't tell you over the phone.
St. Louis police found Dennis Moore's body laying in an alley on San Francisco Avenue, about 2 blocks away from his home. He was attacked by dogs.
And the dogs ate him up to a point where his body was decayed. They can't show me his body. They can only show me, they didn't eat his head up.
A 92-year-old taking out the trash that night was also attacked and taken to the hospital. Animal Control took 3 dogs who matched the description into custody.
Pit bulls is not bad dog, it's what you put in them. And you are raising vicious dog to attack human beings. No, you need to pay for this. My opinion, that was fed blood, meat, ate my husband up like wolves.
Moore is still in shock as she now tries to find the money to plan her husband's funeral.
But I don't know how to move on. I take it one day at a time. I got a good support system, but I don't know how to move on.
St. Louis Animal Control tells us 3 dogs were seized and are being housed at the shelter related to the investigation. Since July 2021, more than 1,600 service requests were made for stray dogs, dogs on the loose, leash law, or dangerous dogs in the city.
Tonight, a Ferguson woman is charged with stabbing a nurse and paramedic at SSM Health DePaul Hospital. Tonight, 5 on your side's Robert Townsend is live in Bridgeton with new details about these attacks. Robert.
And right now there are lots of questions about the violent attacks that happened inside this hospital. Here's what we know tonight. Bridgeton police say around 11:30 this morning, the suspect, 30-year-old Jamisa Rivers, stabbed a nurse and a paramedic at DePaul Hospital. Now police say when they got here, the victims were being treated for serious injuries. People nearby restrained Rivers and held her until officers arrested her. We're told a surveillance camera caught the stabbings on video. Tonight I tracked down a witness on Facebook. The woman couldn't talk on camera because right now she's at work. She tells me the stabbings happened in the hospital's emergency room. She also posted that the nurse was stabbed in her back and neck. Police haven't released any new information, including what prompted the 2 stabbings. This afternoon, the hospital released a statement. It said in part, quote, "We are deeply saddened and shaken by the tragic incident at SSM Health DePaul Hospital." A spokesman also said, "Our thoughts and prayers are with our injured colleagues, their loved ones, and all of those who have been affected." We still don't know why the suspect was at this hospital this morning. And again, I can also tell you that that suspect, Jamisa Rivers, she's now charged with 2 counts of assault and 2 counts of armed criminal action. Tonight, she's sitting in jail on a $2 million bond. Live in Bridgeton, Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
And tonight, a man is in custody after a stabbing at the Walgreens in De Pere. Police say on Sunday afternoon, Alfred Pierce was inside the store at Manchester Road and walked past an employee. When he walked by a second time, he pulled out a 4-inch knife, slashed the left side of the victim's neck, and walked out of the store. Police arrested Pierce. Today, he's charged with assault and armed criminal action, and police say he has an extensive violent criminal history.
Tonight, police and family want your help solving the murder of a former CBC football standout. Last weekend, 25-year-old Damian Baker was shot and killed in downtown St. Louis. Baker and a woman were both shot multiple times as a man tried to steal their SUV on July 3rd. It happened near several bars just south of Busch Stadium, which is why police believe there are witnesses. Today, Baker's mom told 5 on Your Side she will not stop until she finds out who did this to her son.
If there are other friends or, people that were in that area that night, to help ease the pain in my chest by helping us find out who did this.
St. Louis police say anyone with information, please call Crime Stoppers. You can remain anonymous at 866-371-TIPS. Tips can lead to a cash reward.
Let's turn now to the weather. Tonight it's starting to cool down a little after we saw temperatures in the 90s, upper 90s today. And Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joins us with a first look at the forecast.
Mike, we flirted with 100, didn't quite make it today in St. Louis. And tonight there's actually a cool front sliding through the metro area. You would think, as hot and humid as it's been, that we would be looking at the potential for showers and thunderstorms, but that potential is awfully low. Nothing showing up on the radar screen around St. Louis right now. We tracked that boundary in here. We even had a hard time getting the clouds to develop. Now, past the front or behind the front, we will see a few isolated showers trying to develop very late tonight and before daybreak, and then they push away quickly tomorrow. So there's still a chance for a spot shower or thunderstorm. It's not going to amount to much, and most of us are staying dry. Most of us are still in the low to mid 70s for lows overnight tonight. Tomorrow, though, while it's still a very warm day, it will be cooler than today, and the humidity levels are going down. We're talking more about that for the rest of the week and when the next big batch of heat arrives in a few minutes, Mike.
All right, Scott, thanks. After we saw a wet spring and hot summer, local farmers are doing what they can to make it through the season. And today, 5 on Your Side's Elise Schoenig took a trip to a Metro East farm to see what they're doing to beat the heat.
A lot of the crops we plan for the summer are very heat tolerant, but they also need water.
A familiar story with a different narrative. With excessive heat and lack of rain,
But what we can't do is take care of the soil overall without rain.
farmers are doing what they can to make it through growing season. At Theodora Farms in Godfrey, Chris Larson says they're just trying to stay ahead of the heat.
We installed irrigation access points throughout the farm to make sure that our crops could get water when they needed it.
He says they need to plan extremely far ahead to find the most efficient ways to stay cool.
What you'll see is a lot of shade cloth out in the field. So for instance, we are growing lettuce right now, but it's all under shade.
Although some human-made solutions provide temporary relief, Larson says lack of rain is a story of its own.
If we go further, then we're certainly going to have to take mitigating measures. Yeah.
Now, when talking about just how much rainfall we're getting here at Larson's farm, he says his farm needs about 5 inches of rainfall per month in order to survive. But he says right now his crops are only receiving rainfall at a rate of about 2 inches per month.
Despite the headache of the heat and the trouble of the rain, Larson says they're still writing their own narrative.
We might lose a few crops with the heat, but we're going to gain some.
Reporting in Godfrey, Elise Schoenig.
We adapt and learn.
5 on Your Side.
Larson says what he's seeing, he calls the power of nature in positive ways at his farm. Despite the extreme heat, he says a select few of his greens are the best he's had in 20 years this late in the summer.
A St. Louis radio icon's health takes a turn for the worse.
I'm not a praying guy, but I've been praying for Jeff every day.
The announcement that had his co-hosts fighting back tears. The Biden administration touts the bipartisan gun law.
Will not save every life from the epidemic of gun violence, but if this law had been in place years ago, even this last year, lives would have been saved.
Why both the president and mayor of St. Louis say more needs to be done. Hidden in the legalese.
I do feel that our hands are tied when we agree to these contracts.
Consumer Reports with what you need to know before making a major purchase.
New tonight, sad news in St. Louis radio. 105.7 The Point's Jeff Burton has entered hospice care. The announcement came this morning during the Rizzuto show. The longtime radio host was diagnosed with prostate cancer in March of 2021. Burton was taken to Missouri Baptist Hospital on July 2nd, where a team of doctors spent a week trying to stabilize him. They say the cancer spread to his entire body and he will not be able to receive any additional treatments. His Rizzuto show co-hosts fought back tears as they talked about Burton.
And I talked to one of Jeff's friends who talked to him, late last week, who said that, Jeff is still making jokes at home. Jeff is still Jeff. I mean, he is and forever will be Jeff Burton. There is no denying that. There is none of that. And Jeff would want us to remember him for all of the times that he made you laugh.
Burton's two daughters and wife are doing everything they can to take care of him, and the family at 5 on Your Side has him and his family in our thoughts.
Today, survivors and families of victims of gun violence gathered at the White House to celebrate the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. President Biden said today steps are being taken to make the nation safe. This is the first significant federal gun safety legislation in 30 years. The new law expands background checks for younger gun buyers, blocks guns from convicted domestic abusers, cracks down on illegal gun purchases, and provides new mental health and school safety funding. President Biden also called for a ban on assault weapons. St. Louis Mayor Tashara Jones echoed the president's calls for stricter gun control.
Assault weapons have no place on our streets. And in most of the mass shootings, it's been assault weapons that have killed hundreds of people.
There are 2 ongoing court cases that could determine how much of the federal gun law may go into effect in Missouri. Mayor Jones argues the supremacy clause means federal law trumps state law, and that could deliver gun regulations here in St. Louis.
Tonight, the Biden administration says the nation's hospitals and doctors must provide abortion if the mother's life is at risk. In a letter to healthcare providers, if abortion services are not provided in such instances, then the hospital will face penalties. That's because federal law overrules state abortion bans in such cases because of the Emergency Medical Treatment Act and Active Labor Act. At least 9 states, including Missouri, have banned abortion since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade in June. Whether you're buying a phone, a car, or shopping online, it seems like we're squinting more than ever trying to read that tiny fine print.
And often in that tiny legalese is something called an arbitration clause, which can have sweeping implications on what you can and can't do if something goes wrong. Consumer Reports introduces us to a woman who spent years fighting for her right to sue a company. Kathy Greiner was a DirecTV customer for 5 years until her equipment stopped working. She was sent new equipment that she says was also faulty.
We had tried numerous things to get it to work, and that we had even climbed up on the roof and adjusted the dish.
Kathy returned the new equipment and switched providers. She thought the issue was over until
they said that you're going to have a fee of a couple hundred, $240. They took the money out of my account. It just seemed wrong.
Citing early cancellation fees, DirecTV said the 2-year service commitment was in their agreement.
I never signed anything. I never saw that anywhere.
Kathy filed a class action lawsuit in the Los Angeles Superior Court saying the company failed to disclose early cancellation fees. That was in 2008. DirecTV asked the court to resolve the case through arbitration. After 7 years of rulings and appeals, the U.S. Supreme Court ultimately ruled in favor of DirecTV. Consumer Reports says this has sweeping implications for consumers.
Arbitration deprives consumers of the right to a day in court to challenge any corporate wrongdoing. It leaves consumers without a lot of recourse.
Consumer Reports also says companies like DirecTV may have a motive for settling disputes through arbitration. From 2004 to 2010, DirecTV assessed early cancellation fees to more than 700,000 California subscribers, totaling $82 million. During that same period, they paid just $16,000 to arbitration claimants.
They're lining their pockets while consumers can't fight back effectively. It's outrageous.
DirecTV has since changed ownership, but asked by Consumer Reports to comment on Kathy's case, the company said this: "We offer multiple service options to meet customers' preferences." Kathy can't say whether she ever got her money back, but says her claim was resolved.
I do feel that our hands are tied when we agree to these contracts.
So what can you do to protect yourself? Consumer Reports says try to buy or use products that don't require arbitration. Unfortunately, that means reading through terms and agreements. Also use social media to complain about arbitration. Some companies have actually changed their legal terms.
Tonight, we're getting a glimpse of the universe like we've never seen before. Today, NASA unveiled one of the first full-color images from the James Webb Space Telescope. It shows how a massive group of galaxy clusters act as a magnifying glass for the objects behind them. It's called gravitational lensing, the result in Webb's first deep field view of the old and distant galaxies. The rest of the high-res color images will be unveiled tomorrow. Well, does that just make your night, Scott?
You know, when I saw that pass through on Twitter, it's like, that's just such a small, itty-bitty view. I mean, it's literally nothing like what it's just going to be incredible.
And then you think about us. How
Yeah.
tiny and insignificant we are.
Well, there you go. And on that note, let's talk about how beautiful it was this afternoon. If you like the warm weather, we had the sunshine. One thing we could use is some rain. There, your clouds trying to roll in with the front as it's approaching St. Louis this evening. That's over Forest Park and looking back towards Clayton. 99 for the high today. No record, of course, because records this time of year are generally above 100. 27th day, though. We've seen a high temperature of 90 or higher in St. Louis. Nothing on the radar screen around St. Louis, but a couple of little thunderstorms have developed here as you head up Interstate 57. This is south of Champaign, and also a few between Lafayette and Indianapolis. But elsewhere along this front, it is pretty much a boring front that's sliding through. Now, will there be some scattered showers and thunderstorms? That chance is still there, but you're not going to see the coverage like what we're seeing much farther to the west. We are still warm in St. Louis tonight, still 87 degrees. Dew point's actually gone back up to 75, so it's still pretty thick. Even though the winds have turned to the north at 10, it'll take a while for that drier air to get in here. And with the recent humidity, the hot weather, you know, you look at the mosquito index, it is still on the high side, that mosquito forecast for the next couple of days, probably the rest of the week. It may go into the extreme category next week as it gets even hotter. So futurecast overnight, trying to develop a couple of these spot showers and thunderstorms. There's not going to be a huge amount of coverage, and the odds that anything becomes severe, extremely slim. We'll be lucky if we can get a few drops of rain in most cases. Tomorrow afternoon, mid to upper 80s. It warms up. Yes, but the humidity levels are back down, so we're about 10 degrees cooler, humidity's lower. The rain chances, if there will be any, would be south of St. Louis by early tomorrow morning, and then the rest of the day is definitely on the dry side with bright skies. Right now, with our partly cloudy skies in St. Louis, we're talking lower humidity that returns tomorrow into Friday, seasonably hot weather the rest of the week, and that general lack of widespread rain. Things will change heading into next week. The big upper level ridge, which is focused to our west for later this week into the weekend. Well, maybe by Sunday and Monday, we get a little disturbance coming around the northeast side of that. But then this big behemoth builds across the bi-state region. And when that happens, the heat is here again. Big heat. Temperatures next week going back into the mid and upper 90s. Wouldn't be surprised if we get another 100-degree day or two next week. Your only chance for rain, that slight chance it looks like Sunday and Monday, and then whatever we can get in the next few hours and the very early tomorrow morning south of St. Louis. Not much of a rain chance the next 10 days.
All right, Scott, thanks. Frank is here with sports.
Good show coming up. Albert makes history. Whitey Herzog makes hit and run. And is David Perron making his way out of town? Stick around, please. I hate to advocate watching another channel, but next Monday I'm granting a special dispensation. ESPN and the Home Run Derby, Albert Pujols is in. The swan song season is getting more special. Kind of like Miles Michaelis on the mound, brilliant once again against the Phillies. 7 innings, 6 hits, 5 Ks, 1 run, and 0 walks. Albert made some more history. This double, which missed being a homer by a foot, was extra base hit number 1378. It breaks a tie with Stan and is 3rd all time. Right after that, Corey Dickerson blasted one to right. Cards win the final 6-1.
It was a good day. A lot of different people contributed, and here's what I'll tell you: this group's committed to finishing strong before this break. It's been a grind. Guys are tired. There's no hiding that. They're playing through it, but they're committed to finishing strong and then resting up and having a strong second half.
With the Blues trading Ville Husso, it appears this man, Charlie Lindgren, is going to get the first crack to be the backup. Why not? He was 5-0 with the note this season. The team also named Scott Mellenby a senior advisor. Here's the story to watch up until 2 o'clock on Wednesday. David Perron. There are multiple reports this evening that Perron is prepared to hit the free agency market. Now, if the Blues want to clear cap space, they can keep him. Not trending that way as we speak. Stay tuned. Blues prospect camp begins today, and Jake Neighbors is the headliner this week. He had the opportunity to play for Team Canada in the World Junior Championships, but turned it down after leading his team to the WHL Championship this season. The 20-year-old winger had 17 goals, 45 points in 30 games with the Edmonton Oil, along with 1 goal and 2 points in 9 games with the Blues. Neighbors says he's aiming for a longer NHL stint this time around.
Yeah, anytime you get released from a team, it's going to be emotional, you know, and I think that's one thing I said when I left was there was a lot of mixed emotions about going back, obviously with the chance to win a championship and see my teammates again, but, you know, at the same time, it's a lifelong dream to play in the NHL and obviously to play for the Blues. So, you know, I'm happy that everything went the way it did last year. If I could go back, I don't know if I'd change any of it, but I got to come ready to camp this year and ready to make the team.
When I told Whitey Herzog he was going to do hit and run, I said it's rapid fire Q&A. He said, I know, I've watched. As you will see, he's pretty good at it. Best player you ever managed?
Well, I'm a Kansas City Bret when I'm in St. Louis, Ozzie when I'm in Columbia, both of them.
Toughest manager to manage against?
Dick Williams.
You can't pitch and win 2 World Series and that goddamn playoff and pitch as good as you did last year and all of a sudden get disheartened. Right? Yeah, that's true. Well, let's go after him. Let's go. Come on.
If you were starting a franchise with any player in baseball history, you would start with?
Babe Ruth's still #1, and Babe Ruth still might be the best left-hand pitcher. Everybody's talking about Ohtani, which is great. You know, Ohtani just had 9 starts. He never gave up over 3 runs. I had a kid just this weekend ask me, is he the best athlete in the history of baseball? I said, no, Babe Ruth is.
Okay, now, Joaquin. Come on, kid. You ready? Hey, are you ready? Yes, sir. I'm ready.
Give me your favorite baseball memory as a player.
Well, my best moment was also my saddest moment. I had a game that I drove in 7 runs. 2 outs in the 9th inning, Bob Lemon, who was an ex-third baseman, they walked 2 guys to get to him, and he grounds the ball to center field. And I wheeled, and I fired to third, Eddie Yost, who was a third baseman. And I can still see that throw going up in the stand. So the headlines the next day, hero, then GOAT.
He's one of a kind.
Yeah, and a Hall of Famer.
You got it.
All right, Frank, thanks. A celebration of the French fry. We'll explain where and how you can score some free fries this week. Well, if you're a Prime member on Amazon, get ready for some money-saving deals. Starting tomorrow, shoppers can take advantage of discounts on many Amazon items. Now, these are must-have electronic gadgets and kids' toys that all be on sale as early as 2 in the morning St. Louis time and the sale only lasts about 48 hours.
Good news for everyone who loves to get their groceries delivered to their front doorstep. Today, Schnucks announced they are expanding their partnership with DoorDash. You can now order same-day grocery delivery from 25 stores across the Midwest and here in the Bi-State. Last week, Deerbergs announced a partnership with DoorDash.
And who doesn't love free food? Right now, you can order free fries from McDonald's or Wendy's at no cost at all. It's in celebration of National French Fry Day on Wednesday. All you need to do is place your order on the McDonald's or Wendy's mobile app. And if you want something off of the menu, you can order free fries with certain items. Menu options, we're told, will change each day this week.
Now you have that excuse.
There you go. There you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
Start your day with Today in St. Louis beginning at 4 a.m. and have a great tomorrow.